Imagine, if you will, a quiet, unassuming house in the suburbs of London. This isn't a tale of royalty or high society, but rather a story woven into the fabric of an ordinary middle-class family, the Hodgsons. Nestled in the heart of Enfield, London, the year was 1977. The Hodgson family was just like any other in the neighborhood. A single mother, Peggy, raising her 4 children, living their lives in the rhythm of the mundane. School runs, house chores, evening telly, and bedtime stories. Their house, not particularly remarkable, mirrored their life. A picture of typical suburban normalcy. Little did they know, their humble abode was perched on the precipice of a chilling narrative that would soon unravel. An ordinary family in an ordinary town, living an ordinary life, until it was not so ordinary anymore. But little did they know, their lives were about to take a turn into the terrifying and unexplainable. In the late summer of 1977, the ordinary was about to become extraordinary. In the quaint town of Enfield, a typical British suburb, an unremarkable house on Green Street was about to become the epicenter of one of the most chilling paranormal incidents of the 20th century. The Hodgson family, consisting of a single mother, Peggy, and her 4 children, were living a life as normal as anyone else's until the late hours of one fateful August night. The first signs of the extraordinary were subtle, almost dismissible. A knock here, a creak there. But then the uncanny events started to escalate. Chairs began moving on their own, drawers opening, objects flying across rooms, as if manipulated by an unseen hand. The 2 daughters, Margaret and Janet, were the most affected. They experienced the chill of fear creeping into their hearts as their safe haven turned into a stage for the inexplicable. The sounds of their own home became haunting melodies of terror, echoing through the halls in the dead of night. The fear was palpable, the confusion overwhelming. The everyday sounds of a house settling had been replaced by an eerie symphony of inexplicable noises. As the days turned into weeks, the occurrences grew more frequent and more intense. The family could only watch in helpless horror as the inexplicable events unfolded. The quiet suburban home had become a playground for an unseen force. Intrigued and terrified, the Hodgson family sought help. The supernatural events occurring in their humble Enfield home had escalated to a point of unbearable fear. It was then that they reached out to the Society for Psychical Research. Enter the paranormal investigators, Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair. Initially, they approached the case with a healthy dose of skepticism. Their minds were filled with questions. Could this be a hoax? Could the children be playing tricks? Or was there more to the story? Grosse and Playfair, both seasoned investigators of the paranormal, were not easily swayed by hearsay. They demanded evidence, proof that could hold up against their strict scrutiny. And so, they began their investigation, delving into the eerie occurrences that seemed to permeate the Hodgson household. For weeks, they immersed themselves in the unsettling environment. They documented each incident, every unexplained movement, every inexplicable sound. They interviewed the family, neighbors, even the local police who had witnessed the inexplicable happenings. As the days turned into weeks, their skepticism started to wane. Strange things were happening that couldn't be dismissed as mere pranks or imagination. Objects moved with no apparent cause, unsettling voices echoed through the house, and the children seemed genuinely terrified. The evidence was mounting, and it was becoming harder to dismiss the inexplicable events as anything other than paranormal. The turning point came when they witnessed a levitation incident. A chair lifted off the ground, suspended in midair with no strings attached. This was no child's prank. This was something beyond the realm of our understanding. It was this moment that solidified their belief in the supernatural presence within the Hodgson household. Through their exhaustive research, Grosse and Playfair found themselves face to face with the inexplicable. They had started their journey with skepticism, but what they encountered in the Enfield home was beyond the scope of normality. What they found defied all rational explanation. As the weeks turned into months, the haunting escalated. The Enfield Poltergeist, as it came to be known, reached its chilling zenith. The Hodgson family, already pushed to the brink, was about to experience a level of paranormal activity that would etch their plight into the annals of supernatural history. In the midst of these eerie happenings, instances of levitation started to occur. Objects would defy gravity, hovering in thin air before being hurled across rooms with an unseen force. The children too were reported to levitate, suspended in an uncanny dance with the unknown. The most chilling of these episodes was when young Janet was found floating in midair, her body rigid, her eyes wide with fear. As if this was not enough, apparitions began to make their presence known. Shadowy figures would flit across the room, their ethereal forms causing a chill to run down the spines of those who bore witness. Faces would suddenly appear in mirrors, only to vanish just as quickly, leaving behind a lingering sense of dread. The family would often hear voices, whispers that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. The voice phenomena were perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the haunting. A guttural, rasping voice claimed to belong to a man named Bill, who had died in the house years before the Hodgsons moved in. This voice would speak through Janet, the words twisted and distorted, as if unwillingly wrenched from the depths of the beyond. The family was living in a state of perpetual terror. Each day brought with it a new horror, a fresh torment. The once warm and welcoming home had become a house of nightmares, its walls echoing with the sounds of the unseen. Yet it wasn't just the family who was ensnared in this spectral web. The media, drawn to the story like moths to a flame, began to swarm the house. News outlets, paranormal investigators, skeptics, and believers alike all flocked to Enfield, each seeking to unravel the mystery. The haunting had transcended the confines of the small terraced house in North London, captivating the attention of the entire nation. The Enfield Poltergeist had become a phenomenon that gripped the nation. The haunted house on Green Street was no longer just a local legend. It had become a macabre spectacle, a chilling testament to the unseen forces that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to make themselves known. The Enfield Poltergeist had become a phenomenon that gripped the nation. The haunting ceased as abruptly as it had begun, but its impact lingered. The Enfield Poltergeist, an event that shook the quiet suburb of Enfield, London to its core, came to an unexpected halt one day. The sudden silence was as eerie as the paranormal activities that had once held the household in a terrifying grip. The end of the Enfield Poltergeist story was as mysterious as its beginning. The unsettling occurrences that had once become a part of the Hodgson family's daily life simply stopped. The whispers, the levitations, the unexplained sounds all vanished, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The family was relieved, yet the echoes of the inexplicable events continued to resonate. The aftermath of the haunting was marked by intense scrutiny and debate. Skeptics and believers locked horns over the authenticity of the events. While some attributed the happenings to the imaginative minds of the young girls, others firmly held on to the belief that the Enfield house was indeed haunted. This debate brought the Enfield Poltergeist to the forefront of paranormal research, triggering a wave of investigations and studies aimed at understanding the unknown. The impact of the Enfield Poltergeist was not just confined to the realm of paranormal research. It seeped into popular culture, inspiring a number of movies and TV shows. The haunting tale was adapted into scripts, and the small screen flickered with recreations of the eerie events. The Enfield Poltergeist became a household name, a chilling reminder of the uncanny. The Enfield Poltergeist in many ways changed the way we perceive the paranormal. It stirred conversations, sparked debates, and kindled a renewed interest in the unseen world. It brought the supernatural out of the shadows, making it a topic of dinner table conversations and academic discourses alike. The Enfield Poltergeist may be a memory, but its chilling tale continues to haunt us to this day. Whether it was a mere fabrication or a genuine encounter with the otherworldly, the Enfield Poltergeist left behind an indelible mark on history, one that continues to intrigue and terrify us in equal measure.